Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
I forgot how a countdown works, apparently. And I was going to take a drink of coffee, and then it was time for intro. So, yeah.
Good to know. Cara's
Yeah.
here as well.
Yeah, what's going on? Pete forgot the intro to a show that's 100 and stupid amount episodes in.
This is episode 147 for the record. It's because we did TV Multiverse last, and I almost said that intro instead. That's why I paused after DC, because I usually say DC TV podcast on that show. So I had a moment, I went, wait, that's not that one. That's not this one. Stop it. Course correct. So yeah, we talk about DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week's very light episode, we have Batman 67, Justice League 20, Aquaman 46, and Naomi issue 3. And that concludes the new issues that we'll be talking about this week, which is a very different show from last week. However, as it's a light week, me and Connor are both doing Patreon punishment issues. Connor's going to be looking at Red Hood Outlaw number 30, and then both of us will be looking at Nightwing 53. Well, I'll explain those when we get to them. But now, normally we ask for questions on this week because it is such a light week. However,
Yeah.
Matt has to be done earlier this week, so we're just going to accept that it's going to be a quieter show. If worst comes to worst, he might have to leave before we do our punishment issues, although we've got to start a little bit earlier than we thought we would, so I think we'll be fine. But
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And don't worry that this is a light week, because next week you're getting extra.
Yeah, next week there's 2 episodes, because next week's Detective Comics 1000. You're getting a
Yeah.
special.
Which I'll be on half the episodes next week.
Yeah, you'll be
Because
on
I'm going to WonderCon.
You'll be on the Detective 1000 episode, but you won't be on the regular episode. That is
Right.
correct. Yes, you're away at the weekend.
But hopefully I'll get all my stuff read so I can send you. I'm just seeing what comes out next week.
Quite a lot. It's a week 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm missing Dial H.
Oh no.
Biscuits.
Dial H number 1.
Oh, and Shazam.
Oh dear.
That's right. I get to go see Shazam today, so
Ah,
it's
suck it.
okay.
You're the worst.
I'm not the worst. I can't help it that they sent me an email that they're doing early showings in my area.
Matt, do you know what you get for seeing Shazam today?
What?
Sales figures. So that'll take us neatly on
Son of a bitch.
to sales figures for the month of February.
Sorry, I just had whenever someone says "son of a bitch," I have an automatic reaction to reach for my drink, and I was like, "Nope, don't have to."
Man, and I'm missing another Heroes in Crisis, which makes me the Connor of Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, but who cares?
Yeah, but
Nah,
I care.
I don't think you want to be the Connor of anything. That's just
No.
That's
My
true.
point is, Heroes in Crisis, right? Compared to Doomsday Clock, that matters way more.
Yeah, I know.
It does. Doomsday Clock's better, no question. But hey, what do we think was number 1 in the month of February?
Was there a Doomsday Clock?
There was not a Doomsday Clock.
And so it's a shorter month too. So,
I actually don't know anymore what month is there.
and we have the shifted schedule because of January still. Does that still impact that?
No,
No,
it's week
back to
5
normal.
now, so back to normal.
Yeah.
Some sort
I'm gonna
of
take a
Batman.
guess. It's a, huh?
I said some sort of Batman. Oh.
Yeah.
Some sort of Batman actually is correct.
It's that stupid book that Pete dropped, huh?
It is indeed the Batman Who Laughs,
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
3. The only book in February that got over 100,000 copies. So that
That
will
made you sad.
that's a
Real
lot
quick,
bit.
while we're talking about this, did you guys see Tom King's Uber interaction on Twitter?
I actually did not. What was this super interaction?
So he somehow got brought up that he writes Batman, and the Uber driver goes, "Oh, sweet. So like Court of Owls? No. Oh, so metal? No. Oh, so Batman Who Laughs? No. So what did you do? The wedding? How'd you mess that up, man?" It was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
So it was, but yeah.
Why wouldn't you say word jokes and riddles or say
Well,
Because you
it's-
just know the wedding. That's the one that people know
Yeah,
will
yeah,
recognize.
because that's the pop culture-y one.
yeah,
You
I
know,
don't
like,
know. I'd be avoiding that one.
Although it's obviously someone who's obviously read, Court of Owls, Metal, and
Or they at least have a passing familiarity with what's going on.
Yeah.
That
Probably knows enough that have recognized War of Jokes and Riddles.
Yeah.
Although weirdly didn't recognize the difference between Snyder and King. So
Right.
who knows? Maybe there's a weird level there that I didn't realize existed.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think there is. I think there's a casual comic level where they don't really pay attention to writers like we do.
Yeah, no, I figured though that there was a level where if you're paying attention enough to be aware of every story that's happening, because that's all the big ones of the last.
That's how I was when I only read Wizard back before we had like decent comic shops close to me. All my comic info came from Wizard magazine. So like I knew who Grant Morrison was, but like I didn't know what he was writing all the time. And at one point, because they were both had written Flash, I got Morrison and Mark Waid confused. Which now, being a longtime comic fan, how does that happen?
Yeah,
very different. So I think especially with Batman, I think there's a type of person who just goes and buys all the Batman comics and probably doesn't pay attention to who's writing them.
Yeah,
it probably is. Yeah.
So that's probably who this guy is. But I mean, I'm just making some leaps here.
There was another thread going around of give me your top 5 misspellings of your name. And I think Tom King just put Scott Snyder in all of them. I think that was him. It was either him or Tynan. I can't remember, but it was someone who's written Batman. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Really annoyed me is I don't think Tom Taylor did it. But the reason I bring this up, this is relevant, is because the day after that was going around comics Twitter, someone someone tweeted going, "Hey, I love Mr. Miracle. Thanks, Tom Taylor."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're welcome."
Yeah. Oh, he's great. I officially, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I officially made him our patron saint of the podcast.
I saw that, yes.
I like how you didn't consult anyone, but I'm okay with it.
So, and it fits, and he liked it, so...
Shut up, I need to pull my button.
Oh.
Tom Taylor.
There we go.
Yeah, so, and I feel that it fits, Like, of course he's going to take credit for Mr. Miracle. Because we would too, right?
I appreciate a good tangent as much as this guy, but I feel like we're avoiding sales talk here. There's some active deflection going on here, and I'm not having it. Not on my show.
I had a supervisor once that I would do that too, that he would come to talk to you, and as long as you brought up sports, he would forget why he came to talk to you. So I was a master at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do anything about that. Anyway, number 2 was Batman 64. Number 3 was Batman 65. So
wow,
top 3 slots of Batman. Huh? Yep, that's just how it goes. Number 4, Venom number 11.
That's the best-selling Marvel book last month.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Was it the 90s, Batman and Venom at the top of the charts?
Number 5 was Heroes in Crisis number 6. Number 6 is Amazing Spider-Man 15. 7's Uncanny X-Men 12. 8 is The Flash 64.
Oh, nice. I kind of hope that... that's because that was the Batman tie-in, right?
Yeah. Although notably, 65's down at 16, which is funny. That people bought it for the Batman crossover, and then after reading a couple of them went, you know what, I don't need to finish this crossover.
I don't blame them. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's not how it happens, is it?
No.
With the
ordering.
That's true, you're right.
Shops, it's the shops going, do you know what? People are going to be dropped off by then.
Yeah.
They were making that prediction.
Matt, do me a favour, check your mic settings on Skype, will you? Getting a little bit of background ambience crackling up.
Let me move my phone.
Was that all 10?
That wasn't. No, I was just 8. It almost sounds like you've got like a drink fizzing next to the mic or something like that.
I don't, because I don't have any bubbles this morning, and my drink's over on the side.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's getting louder. All right, technical faults were resolved. So. Number 9 was Uncanny X-Men 11. Notably, 12 did better than 11, although 11 was an $8 book. But I still think it's interesting that they ordered more.
I get it. They ordered a fair amount of 11 and I went, not everyone's buying this. Some of them are just going to skip it because of the price, but 12...
Who's writing Uncanny right now?
Matthew Rosenberg is...
Rosenberg, I thought. Which I should go back and check out, because I did enjoy his Phoenix mini. So
It's not bad. Cora dropped it. It's not the best thing in the world, but
Yeah,
if you want to read
I'm
X-Men,
still backlogged on my Marvel books this week. So
it does a thing where on the first issue it's like every X-Men story is the same. I'm like, and then it proceeds to be the same story.
yeah, but that's meta. That's fine.
It's better if it breaks it. It didn't.
You don't know how it's going to end. It could be different by the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. If the last issue is different, it's still the same bloody story.
Yeah. Well, now they're owned by Disney, so
that's true. Fox Disney deal did finalize. It's official. Ripley is a princess.
That's not.
Yeah, I'm sick of those already. I'm like, how long has this news been going on? Like the acquisition? It's like a year and a half now, right?
Look, I don't need Cara's cynical douchebaggery.
All I'm saying is that went around at the Star Wars acquisition because Leia was already a princess.
Right.
That's how this worked. You don't just you're owned by Disney. You're now a princess.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister is a Disney princess, and I will not hear anything else to the contrary.
You're a deluded idiot.
Do you think I give a shit about who's considered a Disney princess? I think Disney princesses are the most pointless piece of fiction in the goddamn planet. Almost
Someone
as
hasn't seen Wreck-It Ralph 2 yet, huh, Connor?
Almost as pointless as Lord of the Rings. So...
You take that back. I'll not have you besmirch Rapunzel's name like that. Good sir. She is fantastic. I love Tangled. I won't even...
Yes, and also Ripley's more important than Princess Leia, so it's fine.
Okay.
Well, she is. Do you want one from me?
Sorry, how many movies did she get?
Oh yes, because
it's not even about the quantity.
Yeah, because that's how you judge the importance of someone, the quantity of films they end up in. Yes.
Because there was 4, and Leia has 5, so it's not like it's that much better.
Yes, and one of Leia's was Last Jedi, so I mean, you know.
I'll take the worst Star Wars over Alien Resurrection.
Oh, no. I would happily watch Alien Resurrection over any of those prequels.
Even David Fincher didn't want anything to do with Alien 3. He tried to have his name taken off of it. So...
Still better than Attack of the Clones.
I get a lot more entertainment out of the prequels.
Yeah, but Leia's not... But see, Pete, this is where your logic is faulting you. Leia's not in Attack of the Clones.
Oh no, I know, but now we're debating the Connor's or one of you said that you would rather watch Last Jedi over any of those 4 Alien movies. Now, if you'd said over Alien Covenant, you might get an argument out of me. You might get a fighting chance.
No, because we're comparing Leia to Ripley, right? That's the original conceit of this debate, correct?
Sure. I mean, I'd still rather watch both Alien 3 and Resurrection more than Last Jedi, but I mean, that's here, not there. But then again, I would rather watch Alien and Aliens over any Star Wars movie, so...
But see, I understand those ones. Those are the good ones. I get it. Like,
hey, Alien...
My original point is, I will take a bad Star Wars movie every time, anytime, over a bad Alien movie.
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection is actually not bad until the last act.
That's not true.
Up until she has sex with the alien, it's not bad.
I think you've just made our point for us.
Oh boy. Anyways, we're sidetracked. We gotta.
I was actually going to make a point about the sales thing, or a query on the sales thing. So that happened,
yes. Well, look.
Would you consider Heroes in Crisis regular back?
This is wonderful. The internet is actually muting Connor for me, and I don't hear what he's saying. This is great.
So last week I had a bit of a sad week, and I watched Wayne's World to pull myself out.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that where they order improperly to try to get it free.
Yeah.
That's what Connor just did.
What's going on?
We only got every other word.
Yeah, you're basically just cutting out constantly for a second.
What the hell?
All these tech issues come from his side of the things today.
I'm going to punch this computer in a minute. No, I'm not. It's brand.
You're also quieter than you were before. You're too quiet now.
Nothing has changed on my. I'm hardwired into a sound card. The volume does not change.
Maybe that's your problem. I don't know
What was your
anything about
query?
tech, but
Just repeat your query.
I was wondering if it could be considered that Heroes in Crisis was a bit disappointing in that an event is getting less than regular issues of Batman and even Venom.
But see, this is my take on events anymore. Is Heroes in Crisis really an event, or is it just a big story?
I mean, I think it is technically an event. I mean, issue 6 was 79,000. I mean,
because I look at Metal and see that it impacts things line wide.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's an event, you know. But it seems like Heroes in Crisis is kind of contained, kind of like Identity Crisis. Like,
I mean,
I wouldn't call Identity Crisis an event.
I can't remember what the numbers were for the previous issues, you know, because as much as Matt likes to joke about Robot, I can't actually remember all those figures. But I'm going to assume it's been gradually declining since issue 1, and therefore the implication is clearly that people have tried it and didn't like it, and it's been dropping because of that.
Or they're going to just treat it as a full go, like James, who initially he dropped it because he didn't like the first issue, but the more we've talked about it in the group, the more he's been interested in seeing how this plays out, but he's just going to wait till it's done. You know, so I'm wondering how many of those fans are out there too. That's why it's declining.
Connor was Googling how to do audio.
No, I was just trying to see if I could get the sales figures up, but no one's collated them nicely for me.
That joke was even funnier to me personally because Connor actually has a degree in music and sound.
Yes, shut up. I was trying to brush over it. Didn't want to make myself look bad. I did see this. Obviously, we got like a year on sales for a bunch of stuff comparisons for comic sales, and a lot of it's up. Like the overall figures are up. It's trending upwards. It's looking good for the industry as a whole. Somewhat surprisingly to many people.
It's good comics being sold, so good comics do well, and I guess I don't really have much more to add to it.
Well, and you look since last year, there's been quite a turnover in creatives too. I mean, Bendis has come to DC, and guys at Marvel have kind of stepped up, kind of like guys in DC had years ago.
Yeah,
So it creates this excitement, like I started reading more Marvel books. Pete started reading more Marvel books.
Yeah. Marvel,
so that just only adds to sales.
They definitely have more going on at Marvel right now that I think is interesting for a wider range of people than they did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I've only dropped my DC reading by a couple. So, even though I swore that I was going to read less comics this year, I've started reading more. But it helps that they're mostly digital, so they're not taking up space. That's how I rationalize it. They don't take up digital space. But yeah, it makes sense. I know some friends that have just outright cut comics where they're only getting like one a week, so it's weird. I wonder if like the expanse into the bookstores or newsstands has had that impact where they're just more places, so more people are picking them up.
I'm probably reading more comics than I ever have monthly, even though over the course of the show I've dropped a relatively big handful of DC books that I've not been following, but I've picked up slack in other areas, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse. I'm reading consistently every month at the minute. Boom, so overall, I'm definitely reading more than I used to.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read as much as I do right now. So much so it led to a second comics book podcast called Elsewhere on the Multiverse. If you want to hear me and Connor talk about Marvel and Image and Indie and everything else.
Yeah, and I'm looking at stuff like this. Like Immortal Hulk 1 is on its 4th printing. I don't think Hulk's been like that in the last couple of years.
We're getting probably.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'd have to go back
maybe towards the start of PAX run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the Planet Hulk stuff. Maybe it was that popular, but you're getting these books that you wouldn't expect to get. 3rd, 4th printing. Die is going on its 5th printing. Yeah. That's a book I haven't even read the first issue of, but the fact that it's getting that is pretty.
It means there are a shitload of people out there reading it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's the sort of book that typically does really well digitally. With the specific creator own, they really have their target audience. That tends to do really well in the bookstore and digitally, and well enough in the comics stores. But fifth printing, it must be doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything worth mentioning about sales otherwise? I'm just looking if there's anything noteworthy that we'd like to point out. Do you want to know where Superman in action are, Matt?
Yeah, please.
Superman's at number 21 with 50,000. Action is at 29 with 44,000.
Okay.
So I think that's about
top 30,
steady.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's about steady from, I think, the previous month. I remember them being about there. Wonder Woman issues are both in the 20s as well, 26 and 27 with 46 and 45,000 respectively. So, ain't bad. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a bored month for sales figures. There's nothing really interesting to kind of point out or be like, oh, this is the big shake-up, or here's the surprising thing, or whatever.
What will be more interesting is looking at some of the newer books that are still like Naomi and Shazam, and where are they falling?
Good question. Let me...
What else is new? I don't know.
Hold on. Yeah. Oh, no. You got a Windows noise there, because I made a typo. Naomi issue 2 was at 113 with 15,000.
I don't see an issue with that,
My only real, obviously I have no stake in it. My looking at it would be, is that enough for them to warrant another miniseries?
Sorry,
the fact that it's on Bendis' imprint, I would say yes.
No, just because it's confirmed until it's solicited, right?
Bendis said it was greenlit the day the first issue had to go to second print, which tells me that they printed for what they expected it to get, or less than even, but
yeah,
they weren't expecting a huge run of it.
I also feel like with Bendis, a lot of the readers that are reading his stuff now read it in trade, too.
Possibly.
So
I do wonder if as well, like, if it's safe, just because it's like, hey, Bendis will let you do X amount of things that you want to do, and just as long as you keep doing this, as long as you keep
like if this wasn't. Yeah, if this wasn't in his own imprint of Wonder Comics, then I would see them like, okay, we'll do this another time. But the fact is kind of like, well, yeah, that was part of the deal when you came over. And I think they're pretty overall happy with what he's doing. I feel his books are going to spike.
It is worth mentioning that is like less than 100 copies less than Terrifics from last month, which was,
fair enough.
Number 112. That's right above that. And that's gone for at least another 5 or 6 issues, so...
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So, so... Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Nothing else super exciting.
Did Wonder Twins start last month?
It did, didn't it? Because we had issue 2.
Yeah.
Number 64 with 27.5 thousand.
Well...
Do you know what you notice here actually is once you get to about 50, like there's a lot of
really close together.
Yeah, they're really close. Like there's 100, sometimes only 50, 40 copies separating.
Do you know what it is? I think a shop will go, right, so I'll order, 30 copies of Batman, 40 copies of whatever, right? Because and go, all right, this is exactly how many, and we'll go, we'll order 6 of everything else. Just like those sorts of numbers where they'll all order exactly the same.
From the retailers I follow on Twitter who talk about pulling their hair out when they're doing final order cut-offs, I have to imagine it's a bit more complex than that.
I am at a lot of time it probably works out very similar for a lot of these smaller books. Obviously, they'll have a set amount that they order for what customers have.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of the smaller books, a lot of cut shops don't even order for the shelf anymore. They only order the ones that are actually subbed, and that's it.
Beyond the first issue, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, beyond issue 1s, yeah. But like I know a lot of books like they don't even stock issue 2 unless people actually ask for it because they don't sell them anymore. Like back issues apparently aren't. That's where the business is kind of falling. There's less back issue demand than there used to be.
Yeah.
I guess because often they'll be more expensive, depending on where you shop, and then
I think somewhat the collector mentality of having every issue like that is going away a little bit as we shift generations.
Yeah, because
the accessibility of just I can just read if I want to read the stories, they're all there digitally.
They're all there digitally. Just like I can start buying issues 7, go from there, and just get the trade when that comes out or something.
Yeah,
like that.
That's the other thing I was going to say. Trade reprintings have gotten a lot better, especially from DC's side of things, right? With all the big thick trades they do. Whereas before, you could get a lot of the stuff in trades, but it actually a lot of the time was easier to get the back issues and just hunt them all down and have the singles than it was to, right, okay, I need this trade, this trade, this trade, this trade, do all the order. It was easier just to grab all the issues and go, right, here they go.
Yep, those days are pretty much gone. Female Fury's issue 1 was 26,000, that was at 67. I imagine that'll drop to similar to what Naomi issue 2 did. With issue 2.
We'll find out in a month's time.
Yeah. It seems like that sort of book that's not going to do like super hot.
Yeah.
Numbers wise.
I wonder if it's slightly higher, in the sense because coming off of Mr. Miracle, right? So you've got like a bit of a connective tissue.
Yeah, but you could equally say about Naomi, it's Bendis and it's tying into this other stuff. You could easily make reasons why. Oh, maybe this one will do a bit better, but
yeah.
So, there you go. That's sales figures for February. No real news as far as I'm aware from this week. I didn't see anything. I had a good skim of Newsarama, but couldn't see anything.
I did see Scott Snyder tweeted something out yesterday, and it was a Jorge Jimenez or George Jimenez, whatever we're calling him now.
Jorge.
Yeah, he tweeted out a picture of Superman with young John, not Bendis the angsty John. So I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if this is a flashback. I don't know if what, but sure made me excited.
To be fair to Bendis, I don't think anything with John in his book yet could be described as angsty.
No, but I'm talking when I say angsty is the older teen.
Yeah, but
type.
I mean, like, angsty's got a negative connotation with it because that makes me think of, what does that make me think of?
I
Jason
just meant
Todd.
this is bright, smiley, star-eyed John that we got with Jimenez early on in Superman and Super Sons. So, and Snyder said coming up in Justice League 24. So it wasn't like this is just a print that Jimenez was doing. This seems to have story connotations, but with the stuff that happened.
Too long to wait then till that. We'll find out.
Yeah, but with the stuff that went on in Justice League this week, and stuff that's going on,
anything
overall,
could happen.
I have no idea, and I kind of like it that way.
Yeah, honestly, I think it'll be either a flashback or a vision or something like that. I don't like. I wouldn't have any reason to think it's anything more than that, especially since we just got older John in main Superman book. I don't think it's going to be retconning that or changing it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we'll go on to the books then. We can get swinging into Batman issue 67. This was a super quick read. This was Tom King with Lee Weeks and Jorge Fomes on the art. So this is almost completely silent. There's just a little bit of narration on the last page, and there's one character who stutters a little bit in the middle. Otherwise, it is a chase sequence. Batman is chasing down this masked assailant. Who I was actually trying to question at first who it was, because I saw the hat and I went, wait, is this someone I'm supposed to know? This looks a bit like... Not quite the Question, but I was getting kind of like familiar vibes.
I was getting Rorschach vibes.
No, I was getting Question, Rorschach, Wesley Dodds Sandman.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
definitely of an era, like 40s, 50s noir. The art, I'm just gonna say it, is the best thing. Like this is probably the best Batman art we've had in a while.
I mean, low bar, but yes.
Oh, true. That said, the story and the way this plays out...
Low bar in terms of what? You said the art's not been good recently?
When he said no, it's the best thing.
Oh, right, okay. Because we've had some good art in Batman recently.
Yeah. I picked up what he was saying.
Yeah. And to be fair to this issue, like, the art is almost the only thing, because it is so silent.
Which tells you a lot that it still manages to be ruined.
In the greater context of the Batman run, though, I am about tired of these nightmares, and I question King. I know he has a plan, but why have this long interlude?
I almost feel like how many more of these we got? 3, 4?
2, I think.
2? It's only 7 parts. I thought it was 9 for some reason.
No, 7.
No.
7. I almost feel like I just skip those 2 and not miss anything.
I say I can't do that.
No, I can't do it, but I feel like I could.
It's just very frustrating because the way this one ends, I'm just like, I don't. And after the last issue, which was actually I really enjoyed, because it it did dive into that dream logic, and we discussed it. But this one, I don't know.
Here's the thing: I probably like this the most out of all the Nightmare issues, and
Even over the last one?
yeah, I think so. And I think the reason why is because it almost doesn't matter that it's a Nightmare issue. It's just a silent chase issue that looks great, and it's got some fun beats in it. Like, see when they run through the bedroom and the old couple are kind of like, oh, he's chasing them through. There's some comical moments like that.
So here's my thing. I think it's a fine issue.
Yes.
As an out of continuity sequel to a previous issue
Fudd.
to the Elmer Fudd issue, because that's what this is.
Or this shows up in an annual,
right, as part of the this is the next part of the main story. What are you playing at?
Because after what we had with the last one, where we had because we all know these are nightmares from Batman, that it's how he was processing Catwoman leaving him at the altar. To go to this one where it just seems like he's chasing the Joker always. Like, I don't know how to put those together contextually. Versus the first part before the Flash crossover, where we had these are all the fears of Batman.
I think this fear is that no matter who he's chasing, it always ends up being him chasing the Joker.
It's a thing that does a disservice to other characters. You know what I mean?
Well, you could say that, you could think that, but I think that's what this fear is. It's not King saying definitively that that's true. This is Batman's fear, is that he's always going to be there to be chased or something. I don't know. I don't like this nightmare. I think we're all officially on the train of this nightmare section being a bit of a weird tangent that's just kind of taking the pacing out of everything. Like, I probably like this one the most because it was just a really simple chase sequence. It had really good art. There was some fun beats in there, and I mean, you put it rightly when you say, if this was like a story in like a in Detective 1000, if this was just one of these out of continuity like short stories, or even if it was still 20 pages, because it's not even like I'm reading this and going, I could lose all these pages. It could be short, but I mean, I don't think it needs to be.
No. I don't care that it's the pages.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Because I like the art, but I'm just talking overall contextually with what we've had and what steam we were building, and this just takes the wind out of the sails. I feel.
I find it hard to be negative on this one particularly though, because I actually enjoyed reading this one.
I enjoyed reading it right up until the end, where it actually just annoyed me, where it felt self-indulgent.
I'm not even annoying me out of self-indulgence. It wasn't an interesting twist. Like, I was just like, who's this guy in the mask? Oh, then it's revealed to be Joker.
I don't know. When it gets to the end and it reveals that it's a pseudo-sequel to the Elmer Fudd, right? I'm like, why? What's the point? Well, we all know that DC's going to do another wave of those eventually.
Yeah, but I do like that it's the same team. So this is almost an Easter egg, and not necessarily it was a sequel, but it was an Easter egg with him dropping into Porky's and Porky having a stutter. Like, that was fun.
Well, and the whole Coyote and Roadrunner thing at the end.
This didn't stick with me. I have to look.
I didn't even get that was supposed to be. I never read that Elmer Fudd issue. I didn't get that was supposed to be Porky.
Yeah, that's Porky.
That's why he's stuttering.
To be fair, he's a human being in this. It's not like I don't know what Porky Pig looks like.
I would go back and track that down, Pete, because it's a real fun story. Because I did after Connor explained it, I was like, oh, I could read this.
It's fantastic.
And so I tracked it back down, and it's a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, and this here at the end, the man who's dead on the roof was William Ernest Coyote. So why Will E. Coyote? Right. And then and why? And he smiled and he said, "Beep beep." I'm like, ugh! It just completely ruined all of the.
So
it became
by that point,
trash.
Yeah, at that point, I was so wrapped up with the Joker reveal that it went over
reading the words anymore.
Really, yeah. Just because I saw him and they're under the water with the stupid bike horn.
Yeah.
So I guess that adds a little more context. right? Because that's Joker and Batman, or Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Like, he's never going to fully catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I'm just laughing. Every issue of Batman now, it's like Connor's angry, and he sits there and talks about how it's getting pretentious or self-indulgent. You're always conflicted, Matt, and I mean, I've been conflicted with this arc as well. I feel like we're kind of repeating almost the same conversation each issue in this arc.
Yeah.
We are, and that's why I said I feel like I could skip this arc and not have missed anything. Like, I could skip the next 2 issues and just jump right back in like nothing's changed, because I'm just going to say the same thing next issue.
Except, see, I really liked the last one, though. So...
That's going to be bad, Matt. Remind me what the last one was.
That was the Catwoman. The super noir one with the question.
Okay, that one was good. Yeah.
I really liked that one, and I felt like in the form of a nightmare, it was Batman confronting Catwoman, but, you know, and not getting what he wanted, right? Because Batman's always used to getting it. And with here, like Connor's saying, it's a bunch of gags. But I don't know. Just the Joker chase thing, I'm kind of over. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't be too mad at this one because I actually enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, and I don't say I'm mad. I'm just fatigued, I guess.
Because there's other ones. The one with Constantine in it, I remember just kind of being kind of
yeah,
like, you know,
burn that one down.
I just felt like a chore to get through that one. Whereas this one, it was nice and.
If you take out the last like 3 pages, I like this issue. That's you know.
Because the ending doesn't bother me because like I think the point he's making here is simple enough that it kind of, and it's also kind of agnostic for Batman, right? Where it doesn't matter that it's taking place at this part in his run. You could throw this issue into any run ever, or any standalone Batman issue ever, and it would still function, because all it's really saying is that he's always going to chase the Joker and it's never going to be over, right? That's essentially what it's saying, right? That always works no matter what, which is why I think this one is the least egregious of almost this entire arc, because it's not just about beating over the same beats that we've been playing with Selina, with all these different fears. It's not specific, because at least this one, it's agnostic. The rest of them, it feels like we're exploring all this stuff that apparently Batman's going through right now, but ultimately it's doing this. Somehow it's achieving this thing where it feels like, despite the fact that we're devoting each issue to a different fear of Batman's, that we're wasting all this time, and ultimately it's going to feel meaningless once we actually get back to the main story. Because it could be that the final Nightmare issue is actually him like finally waking up, but that could happen at the next issue. That could be something that happens at the start of the next arc. And if it does, then it'll be very easy to recommend skipping this entire arc. These 7 issues will be very skippable if that's the case.
Yeah. I'm just agreeing, because I got nothing else to add.
Yeah. I mean, I started that by trying to add some positivity to it, and somehow I got to that final statement. Which...
and that was without me dragging you down there. Yeah.
I still think you get too harsh, but yeah, this arc's not been hot. it's not been too hot. It's taken a book that I am typically looking forward to read when on its weeks, and
it was the last thing I read this week. Which, I mean, yeah, sure, I only got 3 books, but I still, I'm putting that off.
It was not the last thing I read. It was the second thing I read, I think. That really matters. Alright, what are we rating it? What a somber conversation this has been. Liven up, you pair of whiny bastards. Matt, what are you rating?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. I can't remember what I gave the last one, but I like that one more. But I'm not going to kill this one too much, because with that Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner thing I completely whiffed on. It adds a little bit more to this issue, but not much. So.
Well, see, I missed that as well, but I never realised this had anything to do with any of those characters. I never got that was Porky Pig. So.
Talking about a coyote, and then beat like, even without that, God, you're a pair of idiots. At least Matt was distracted by Joker. Pete's got no excuse.
I wasn't thinking in that mindset.
You're in person, I would
Why
choke
would
you
I
right now.
jump to this as a Looney Tunes reference?
Because it's 3 weeks and Porky Pig pops up.
I don't know it was Porky Pig. I never read that Elmer Fudd issue. It was just a bartender with a stutter. Why would my mind go to Porky Pig if I had no context for that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I see Coyote and then beep beep, I'm always going to go to that. No matter what I'm from them.
I don't know, I just read the name and didn't recognize
Damn, there's
it.
even more to layer when you realize that it's Acme, right? And in some versions of Joker, it was Acme, not Ace. Still give him a 7.5.
Okay, Connor, what are you giving it?
4.5.
I'll give it a 7. I don't think this is a bad issue at all. I think the arc as a whole's in a bad place, but this issue itself is fine. Well, hopefully the next book gets some more positive, upbeat conversation, because that was a depressing 15 minutes. I'll take us to Justice League 20, which is Scott Snyder writing, along with Jorge Jimenez, who of course is doing the art. So this is the second part of the Sixth Dimension, where our team are in this future, this lie. The cake is a lie.
Yep. Cake is indeed a lie.
Do you know what that's from, Matt?
Yeah, that's Portal.
Oh, it's okay. I genuinely didn't think you would know that.
I didn't either, to be fair.
I have general pop culture things. Don't ask me what the game is actually about. I just know the cake's a lie.
It's about portals.
It's not really about anything. It's basically
well, I do know that the point of that phrase is you're told to keep going because there's cake.
Yes.
And then at some point you find out that there is no cake.
It's become a thing I say about other things now, because, like, I mean, I said it obviously for this, but I remember when I saw Oblivion, the movie with Tom Cruise, where early on him and his partner are working on the planet and they're being told that their shift's over in like 3 weeks and they're getting taken back, and I actually just whispered to my friend that I was there with, like, the cake is a lie.
Yeah, it's kind of like Moon too. Moon would fit into that, right?
Yeah. And guess what? The cake was indeed a lie. Yes. I mean, here's not exactly applicable because we the reader already know that it's a lie because we were shown that it was false. But
and see, because they're meant to be in the sixth dimension, right? They're not in the fifth.
Yes.
But so only as of right now, Superman, who is trapped in this endless void of the abyss, is the one that's not experienced all of this, right? I'm just trying to keep all this straight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the issue,
talking about.
At the issue, Jean and Kendra get the.
Yeah.
We don't know how much they get from the kids, but they know that this is all a lie. They know that there's something going on.
They get the info dump.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at this as when you start dealing with imaginary places and things like that. I have to keep a linear line of how things work, or else I get lost in the weeds. So I'm just trying to structure this for my own sake, because Mixapitalik would have a field day with me. I will just say that. I would not handle it like Superman.
No shit.
Yeah. I don't think anything confusing's happened yet, though. But it's fairly straightforward.
No, I'm not talking confusion. I'm just saying, like, what are they actually going through? Where are the Justice League? You know what I mean?
Sixth Dimension says it on the first page. There's a nice little.
Do you really think it is the sixth dimension, though? I don't actually think it's the sixth dimension.
Unless Snyder's just lying to us. Which I think he could be.
Because, remember, Mixapitalik is involved, and he's up to something. And so is Lex. Well, not necessarily Mixapitalik, but someone that looks like Mixapitalik.
I feel like you're making this more confusing with weird theories, Matt.
Because they have their own imp. That's what we find out.
No. The Lex wants to capture Mixie, and then he'll be their own imp.
That's not how I read that.
I hate to say I'm with Pete on this one. Because they're discussing Mixie already. Like, this is, they're like, oh, we can't control him. They're like Brainiac's like, look, I'm ridiculously smart, but no, those imps they'll do their own thing. And Lex is like, but what if we had our own?
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
He's talking about Mixie.
I don't think it has to necessarily be Mixie. I think he could be capturing a different one. Or
That's
because I think the implication is that he's already got one in that box.
right.
I think this is where Batmite might come into it.
That'd
Yeah,
be
I
cool.
think it's Batmite.
Because we know Batmite's coming into it, that's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think it's not actually Mixie. I think it is Mixie.
I
Okay.
think it's Mixie, but is being influenced.
Yeah,
by-
because we
Yeah.
hear that voice at one point. It says Mixie, do what you agreed or whatever it was.
Mhm.
There's someone talking
Well, and
to him.
that's why I figured maybe there's some timey-wimey being at play, that we're watching stuff that's going on, but the Doom stuff is slightly in the past, and that the Mixie's been compromised. That's how I read it,
No.
by something.
No, I think Mixie is compromised to a
Mhm.
degree, but they're like, we haven't got full control. We've just got a little
Okay.
bit, but they've got
Well, that makes
Batmite
sense.
coming. Where it's like, okay, no, this one we can control.
I never gave this a second thought while reading that. Matt has somehow made this more confusing.
I told you, Mixie Pitlick would have a field day with me. Like, so what I imagine that show Happy's like, right?
I'm fairly certain though when you've been Mixie that does it, Mixie would just be standing there and you would talk yourself into a frenzy just because Mixie's standing there. He wouldn't actually do anything. He doesn't have to do anything.
You know what? He would get so annoyed he would say his own name backwards and just leave. Like, this was a mistake.
Yeah, so most of this issue, the vast majority of this issue, is the League being shown by their future selves how great this world is. And after about 3 pages of this, I went, you know what, guys? Maybe it's too good to be true, because this all
Yeah,
sounds like freaking paradise.
Well, there's a part that's especially paradise in that Dick's Batman,
Oh, yes.
and he's not Rick, he's Dick. So
My only question is, okay, Dick's Batman, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Why that batsuit? Why red?
I have no idea.
Like, I would
maybe
never.
it's a shout out to the Robin costume. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just
Basically, also, what I'm really saying is, I never pegged Dick for a big collar guy.
No. Yeah, that's
But, I mean,
weird.
I don't know. They always,
Well, it doesn't really matter.
yeah, they always have these weird field days whenever we get stories like this where they do these weird versions of outfits. Because, I mean, did you get that was supposed to be Barry? Is that Flash with the open hair? Like, at first?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No, that's Wally. That's Wally's new suit. Like,
yeah.
or Bart from his Impulse.
And then I'm looking at it and going, oh, I guess that's blonde hair. So, yeah, I guess this is just Barry.
But it is an amalgam of all of them, right? Like, that's what they've said.
That's what Snyder told us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I do like that this is almost a warning to the Justice League. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. Like, yeah, you guys can do greatness, but what's the cost? And so I like when Shane is like, no, don't believe any of this. There's a darker side to it. So I like all of it.
Who's Shane, Matt?
Shane is the little half Martian, half Thanagarian kid. Well, half human, I guess. Because Kendra's not Thanagarian. Shayer is Thanagarian. So.
That's why you made that clear for the audience. Because I know some people listen to these discussions without actually having read the book. So you just dropped a name
think,
there.
Frankly, and I like all of this stuff, right? It's kind of what you expect, right? Of okay, look how idyllic this all is. Of course, it's all bullshit.
Yes.
The best part is some of the stuff in the real world, or well, quote unquote real world.
So could you say that like Luthor's whole concept of doom is just cynicism, right?
How so?
Well, because his whole idea of doom is the way that is gonna improve the world, right?
Yeah.
So you could just say like being all idyllic like the Justice League are, and thinking that you're gonna do things just because it's the right thing to do, right? Isn't that a cynical to be like, oh no, there's actually a way that this all happened, and it's not the way that you think. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm with you.
And so I just feel like this is that trap for them, is that because they're hinting at the way this all came to be wasn't just strictly through justice. It's the full balance, right? So they have to embrace a little bit of the doom.
Yeah. I did laugh out loud though when Batman said, where the hell's all the villains? He's looking at this, utopia version of Gotham. Is like,
Huh?
where's the villains? That makes no
I
sense.
also like he's like, what's this? He's like, it's sunlight. That line got
It's
me too.
bright, and things like, yeah, it's that thing called the sun.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, the absolute best page of this is Jarrow's dream.
Yes, that's what I was alluding to a
Where
moment ago.
he's dreaming of being Robin, and Batman tells him he's his favorite Robin out of all the Robins. We see Jarrow diving at a criminal with a Robin suit on.
Robin costume.
Yes, he's got a Robin costume on.
And do you know what? This is Snyder told us this was coming on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
He told us it was in this issue.
Yeah.
Didn't disappoint.
Nope, not at all. In fact, I would say it overexceeded my expectations. Because him being told he's the best Robin of all the Robins.
Yeah, Deathstroke. More like Death Joke.
Yeah.
Oh, Jarrow's the best.
Which made me immediately think of Pete's dick stroke comment on Twitter like a week ago. So,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this issue was pretty good. I do, if I have a complaint about it, it's probably that so much of it is like the league seeing this, perfect version of the future. I feel like I've seen this type of story done a lot. Not necessarily this specific version of it, but here's the fake perfect future, the fake alternate world you can live in.
Fake utopia.
Yeah. Basically, it's too good to be true kind of story. I feel like I've seen this enough.
It's a Black Mercy story.
Yeah.
Kind of. It reminds me of the movie Tomorrowland. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's where I feel this is going.
It looks amazing, but there's got to be a catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the catch, and how it can go sideways, and that's where I'm feeling like this whole embrace of doom and cynicism and whatnot is the underlying thing we're going to see here, because it looks dire for Superman.
It's clear ultimately the key is going to be some sort of balance, right? With the interpretation of the symbol being justice of doom.
What I'm talking about, though, is a critique of this issue, is it was a little bit of tedious. By the time I got to the fourth scene because they all kind of split up and they're all being shown like perfect parts of the world, Flash and John are doing sciencey things and creating multiverses or whatever they're doing. Whereas, Diana's seen Themyscira, and apparently Kara and Vixen are, Amazons now.
I like that. Vixen, Kara, and Ivy.
Yeah.
I would be okay if that's a hint of something we're going to get to.
But by the time I got to the third or fourth scene like that, I was like, okay, I get it. Everything's perfect, right? I'm sick of reading this now. Can we get to the point where they know and we can start evolving the story?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I can totally see that. Structurally, some of it is redundant, but I was enjoying reading it all. I was enjoying seeing all that, because I think Bruce is the last one, right? And I'm like, okay, I get what it's doing, but also I'm really enjoying seeing his reactions to this.
Yeah, no, I mean it's something I was feeling as I was reading it. Maybe about halfway through the book, I was like, okay, right, I don't really need to see everyone see this perfect version of the future.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I like the Batman one hits home extra because he sacrifices himself for this, and that's enough to let him know that something's off, because that's when he asks where's all the villains. Yeah. So. Yeah, so I like that you see all the other ones kind of buying into it, but not Batman, which would normally annoy me, but I like it here.
Yeah, no, this isn't because Batman. This is just Bruce being a cynical bastard.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. The cynicism. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, the book ends with Superman's trying to get out of the void that he's in, and eventually the fake, bearded... white-haired Superman shows up and it's like, Clark, we need to talk, or whatever he says.
I'm loving this. The more I see it, the more I'm loving this design and the way it glows in this, this dark world.
It looks like Jor-El's outfit from the movie. It feels like Krypton-esque.
Yeah, it does.
Krypton personified.
Yeah.
Also, kind of a little bit of like depictions of the Greek gods. With their togas and whatnot, with the white cape flowing around him.
Oh, yeah, he's totally Zeus.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so, it's super cool, though.
Yeah. And we might have known this to a point before, but we get some clear exposition about Perpetua and how the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger are her sons.
Nice little mythology build.
Yeah, I think that was kind of hinted at last issue from when Mixie was telling them the story.
Yeah, but this was clearly spelling it out though. When we get the full kind of thing where she wanted to use it as a weapon, they imprisoned her on the Source Wall, and now she's out, so she wants to weaponize the multiverse. Basically to get back at her son.
Yeah, she's weaponizing the multiverse. What's the big section of it called? Like, what's the multiverse part of? I gotta find it.
Yeah, I can't remember, but you're gonna have to find
it.
Yeah. I don't see it now. But anyways, I like that idea, and it's almost like hinting that in order for them to have this perfect reality, they have to go along with this plan. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think what's interesting to me about this is the idea that this actually could be the future, right? It's not just some bullshit made up thing. It's no, this could be the future. And at first glance, you should definitely want this. But the reality is, no, there's more going on here. And there's a reason you don't want it to just be this.
Right.
What do you mean could be? Yeah. And in what sort of context?
In the sense of, like, if they succeed in whatever their plan is, as it stands right now, with nothing changes, this is the future, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't some sort of lie. This isn't some sort of dream world that we're just showing you what you want to see.
There's a sinister aspect to it.
Yeah, there's that undercurrent.
As heroes, they have to come to
I don't know if I agree that this is the future if they succeed, because just if they succeed and stop the multiverse from dying doesn't necessarily mean that everything will turn into utopia.
No. But if they go along with whatever the plan, I think that's part of the illusion I'm getting is it's almost like a police state with them. The idea.
Well, it's the Justice Lord
I've seen in Gotham when Batman's going, where are all the villains?
Right.
I think he's going, right, what did you do with them? What's stopping them?
I guess what I mean is like, how is this any more truer? This could be the future than any other future story we've ever had in any comic book.
No, but for the purposes of all those stories, you kind of have to go along with, okay, this could be the future for this one. And I think the reason that what I'm saying is I like thinking that here is because I think it lands harder if this is a viable, possible future, rather than just some conjured up dream. That the sixth dimension is showing them what they want to see, right? If this is actually a potential future, and then they have to choose not to create this because of the sinister undercurrent that Matt was talking about.
Right, and that's why Hawkgirl or Hawkwoman and John are so aghast at what they've seen. Because they're seeing what they've done in order to make this happen.
I guess it feels so good to be true that I actually don't feel it's viable at all. Like I read this and go, this is just too good. This is an illusion. This is a mirage. This is fake. Which is just fine because it is a trick.
Which I guess is metaphysics in a nutshell, right? Like, it's why is it any less true? Because it's all potential. It's kind of what the Dark Multiverse was.
Yeah,
like, we have the Batman Who Laughs. That happened at some point, So, and this is where it starts getting wonky, and that's what I was talking about. When you start talking about the multiverse and Mixie in the fifth dimension, and is it real, is it not real? It's and mission accomplished if that's what Snyder and Jimenez are going for, Because look at all the.
I assume it is, given when you're playing with those dimensions.
Mm-hmm. So mission accomplished on that part. But I really like this type of stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea if the sixth dimension creates things or if it's is it all an illusion? Is it?
Yeah, because how they describe the sixth dimension, it's like the control box. Like, it's the control room where everything is. So if it's a TV show, that's where everything's being controlled from.
Yeah.
That did not help me at all, man.
Well,
no, it's the broadcast.
I didn't want to bring up wrestling again because Connor, but
just this is what you just said about it's the control room where everything's controlled. So if it's a TV show, it's where everything's controlled. That's what you said.
Well, what I mean is So think about the weekly wrestling program, Pete, with
Sure.
how that is. Like you have the six dimensions, the guy in the truck, calling the shots.
The
like,
gallery,
that's where
yes.
you put it together, And then the fifth dimension is kind of like gorilla position, where the show's being put together and where anything's possible until you step through that curtain, right? And then the TV show is what we're seeing, but there's actually another reality outside of that. Like what we see isn't the complete truth. Who Roman Reigns is on TV isn't who he is outside once he steps back behind that curtain.
This has helped me in literally 0%.
Whatever.
Okay.
I'm just saying kayfabe's real, Pete. That's all I'm saying. It's still real to me, damn it.
Right, I'm going to simplify it down. Based on a lot of this is from the last issue's explanation of the sixth dimension, right? The control room, essentially, on a TV show, that's the writer's room. That's where everything is being controlled from that singular point.
Yeah, none of these analogies are helping at all. How does this translate into a dimension? Like I don't think that explanation in the last issue actually makes it clear what the sixth dimension actually is or what it does.
The third dimension is reality, right? As you see it.
Sure.
So in the TV analogy,
fourth dimension's time.
That's the TV show. The fourth dimension is just the time for the location. The fifth dimension is is essentially being aware that it's a TV show. It's the meta awareness of it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting with the kayfabe.
Is the writer's room where this is where it's being created from. This is what's in control of the other dimensions. This is where it's the decisions are being made about what's actually happening in the show.
Yeah, but how is that?
This is where I think we're.
Yes, but how is that different to Monitor and Anti-Monitor and all these types of characters and the gods?
Because that's where they come from. Is the sixth dimension? They're from the control room.
That's the point. They are part of the sixth dimension. That's what we're learning here.
What's told us that so far, though? What's told us they're from the sixth dimension?
Because Perpetua created all this, right?
Yeah, that was in the last issues.
Anti-Monitor, the World Forger, and the Monitor are all sons of Perpetua.
Yeah, but Perpetua created all dimensions as well. She created the sixth dimension.
Well,
she may not have created it, but it explicitly told us those four beings are the only ones who really
can access it.
Access the sixth dimension.
Yeah,
They're the writers. The writer's room, the physical space.
Okay, so what is okay? I understand everything everyone said. I've never been confused about any of this. What does any of this have to do with this fake future that we currently have in the sixth dimension?
No, I think that's why Matt is saying it's interesting to be overthinking it, because how is this functioning? How is this projecting it to these people? And to go back to what Matt said at the very start of this discussion, is this actually the sixth dimension? Is the cake alive? Because how?
First of all, your mic's going, Matt. Secondly, that wasn't the cake. The cake is this future. This is the sixth dimension. Isn't the cake?
See, that's what I think is the cake, because they all think that they're cells from the future because Superman made it to the sixth dimension, right?
Well, yeah, so exactly. That's what I'm saying. That is the cake. But the cake is not whether or not this is the sixth dimension or not for us.
I think that was what Matt was getting at the start. Maybe it is as well. Like, there's the cake to the carrots, and how Peter, you said at the start, there's not really a cake in this scenario because we already know. And Matt's saying, but do we?
But why is that a cake, though? Why is that something we should be hoping for?
Because we're being told that, this is the sixth dimension, right? And then it's pulling the rug out from under us and going, maybe it's not. That's what Matt was getting at the start. I'm with you, Matt. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I don't think I care, though, if it is or it isn't.
Imagination.
Like, I don't actually care if it's a sixth dimension. I just care what the purpose it has in the story. The theoretical existence of the sixth dimension itself is not interesting on itself to me. What's interesting to me is how they use it for the story they're telling. And I'm a little bit worried here that Snyder is making this too convoluted.
I don't think it is convoluted yet.
No.
No, but it is. If it turns out not to be the sixth dimension, and this is something else, and then there's also a sixth dimension,
Okay, I will tell you why this matters. They think they're in the sixth dimension, right? So they think they've. That's
Do they think they're in the sixth dimension?
Yes, because of the whole point that Mixie said, from Superman interacting with him so many times, he's absorbed enough of whatever it takes to get into the sixth dimension. So he steps through that door. An instance later, old Superman looking like Jor-El.
No. I get this part, but why do they think this future is the sixth dimension? If they think the sixth dimension is what Mixie told them, then why would they ever be under any impression that this is the sixth dimension?
Because future Superman at the end of last issue was like, "Hey, I've sorted it out. Come with me."
Right.
With the assumption being to the sixth dimension.
So the sixth dimension, them attaining to the sixth dimension is key to them making this future happen.
They step through the doorway that Superman stepped through to go to the sixth dimension from Mixie, right? Then reopen, and then they all step through again. So why wouldn't they think they're in the sixth dimension?
I don't know. I've stopped caring. You've actually made me like this list, just talking about it.
Well, I'm enjoying it.
Do you know what? I was perfectly happy with this issue, barring some complaints. Actually, talking about this with you two has made me like this much less.
It's made me like it even more. Because I like this type of stuff. It's so I like stuff that Morrison does in concept, but then he goes too sideways. This I feel is a perfect balance. So it's almost like I like the imitation of Morrison better than the real Morrison. You know, like
watered down Morrison.
Yeah, you know.
The funny thing was, I wasn't confused when we started this conversation. You two made me be confused by forcing all these questions about where they actually are and what's going on.
What if it's this? What if we're all right? What if it's not a binary right or wrong?
Here's my thing though. Here's my thing though. I don't know what you can do to make me give a shit about this place, because right now all I'm seeing it is a plot device for these characters to have a lesson, essentially, right?
Well, to me, the sixth dimension is the key to stopping Perpetua, because if they wake up Perpetua, she gets to the sixth dimension, and she weaponizes the multiverse. That's it.
Oh, this is what I like about Snyder. This is all just plot details. It's all just added information, layers and layers and layers. We don't really care about any of this shit unless you're just into the convoluted mythology of it. There's no actual. Why do we care about this shit? Why?
You care about it because the characters give a shit.
There's been no time spent to actually give any of this like actual emotional.
But again, Pete, we don't know if
connection.
We're right. You could be 100% right that it doesn't matter, in that they're all just being lied to because they're not in the sixth dimension. This is whatever they're at is Mixie's own thing going on, right? And it's just, we'll never get to the sixth dimension.
I think we broke the robot. Should we try to turn it off and on again?
See, Pete's Brainiac here, where he's talking about his superior intellect, and then we're playing the role of Mixie and Batmite and going, we don't care about your intellect. We just do things. We don't have to make sense. You know why? We're imaginary, sucker.
Yeah.
Throw your logic and ration out. I'm going to wear a small purple hound on my massive head.
Look, Snyder, recently for me, has worked best when he's just been popcorn fun. I don't necessarily think much of his writing recently has had much depth to it, right? And that's okay if it's fun. And I feel like we're trying to subscribe some depth to this here with this conversation, and I don't know if it's actually there. And because of that, it's feeling hollow to me. It feels like he's doing things because they sound cool and wacky, not because there's like building the story to actually give it any weight.
I disagree, because I feel like this has been built on Perpetua, Sixth Dimension. We've been teasing this stuff now.
This goes back to Metal with the World Forger and the forging of worlds and where all that comes from. And if it all is stemmed from the Sixth Dimension, that's pretty key in going forward in preventing Luthor from attaining Doom. Because we also saw Luthor's future. And so where did that come from?
Yeah, I do think this has been building to this, and it's been relevant. It's not just out of nowhere going, hey, let's go and do this shit.
Yeah. This isn't 0 year to me going like, hey, look how smart Riddler is. I'm going to give flipping 4 pages of exposition of shit that you'll never remember. I won't forget this. I'll tell you that much.
Pete's already forgotten it.
That's the thing. I feel there's been tons of exposition in this run that I've forgotten. Like, I barely remember those issues in the middle of Metal where they talked about all this shit with the World Forger. I remember them being there. I remember the general gist of what happened.
And this is where my continuity walk comes in handy for me, at least.
Well, that's the thing.
As I remember that shit.
I remember things if there's emotional beats attached to them where I care about what's happening beyond just, this is what's happening in the plot because this is
why AI is a bad idea. What happens when you have robots?
Why are you arguing that this is a robot joke when I'm the one saying that it has to be more than just the details? It has to have some emotional humanity attached to it. There has to be a beat for a character where there's something that, an arc. There has to be something there.
Because I think ultimately I disagree with that. I think a good story can be a good story. It doesn't have to have a good character.
Well, I like making calling you robot, but you're bringing Ration into a point about emotion, and that seems to go counter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I just don't think this is that good. So I don't think
that's fine.
Like
we're not trying to sell you on it. We're just telling you our
I know.
interpretation of it. Like it or not, I used to care. I don't care anymore. I liked it.
I like it more after the theorizing with Matt.
Yeah, that's why I like this type of stuff. And I could be completely wrong. I don't care.
Theorizing, it's fun, right? It adds to the enjoy. Me and Pete say this all the time when we do the TV reviews. That entire shows have gone up or down in our estimation just based on conversation.
Sure.
And the experience.
Yeah.
I feel
it's the same here.
This is weird. This must be what Matt feels like when, like, me and you are talking about, like, Twin Peaks. Like, and he's just sitting there going, "This is stupid. Why are you giving it this much attention?" And I that's just what I'm sitting here feeling like. I'm feeling like.
To be fair, I haven't done that in recent years. It used to be me.
True.
Now I just go, cool, coffee.
Tune out.
Yes. I'm gonna move on and not like, you know what I mean? It's the nothing to see here.
What we're saying is emotionally, Pete is about 5 years behind you because he's in that stage right now. So we're gonna wait for him to get out of it.
Yeah. It's okay, Pete. You'll get through it. Just don't believe in cynicism. That's the key.
Cynicism
Man, now I want to watch Tomorrowland.
is required.
I love that movie.
It's such an underrated movie.
I like Tomorrowland as well. I'll stick up for Tomorrowland. I guess, my core complaint, I guess this goes back to what I've been saying about Snyder's writing for a while, and it's why I think it's fine when it's just fun popcorn, but it loses me when he tries to do more than that, is because I feel like he has to slow down and have things seep in, and I don't mean, because obviously one of my complaints with this issue is that he spent too much time going one by one, like seeing all their own perfect futures, because that all felt a bit tedious because it was like, I know this is all a lie, right, so don't waste my time with this is kind of what I felt like by halfway through the issue. But Joe, it's funny actually. One of our patrons, Tyler, said to me while I was streaming this week, "Oh, I think Justice League will take your book of the week." He said that. This is before I read it. I bet he's shaking his head now. Ha ha ha. Yep. What was the point I was about to make? Yeah. So
to be fair, I never thought that was gonna be your book of the week. So.
Well, that's because you're.
I read it like half an hour before we started recording, so I didn't have time to process whether or not Pete would give a shit.
Well, Matt's a smart fellow here, and he knows me well. That's all I'll say on that subject.
I've been recording with him since 2013, and I think I kind of have a bead.
God, it's been 6
but again,
years.
I could be wrong.
Do you know what? I wasn't even coming in here thinking I was going to be that negative. I thought I've got a couple of complaints, but generally speaking, I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed this like as a fluffy issue. It was like, oh, he's did some wacky story with the go to the sixth dimension. This is a fine little arc, and that's it.
And then me and Matt took it too far.
And you're taking it so seriously, and I mean, we're on a DC podcast, so I suppose I should be happy you're taking it seriously. But I just,
what I'm saying seriously, I like the theoretical here. It's like I feel like we're talking about theoretical physics, and Pete's like, "No, man, I just want to play with lasers. Like, I'll be over here."
No, I'm arguing it should have more depth, Matt. I'm arguing it should have more depth.
But what I'm saying is, when you look at the people that talk theoretical physics and quantum mechanics and all of this,
cold, literally,
there's
the point fact.
There's the people that do like astrophysics look at all that and go, yeah, but you don't know if that's true or not because we can't observe it yet.
Yeah.
That's you. You're the regular physics guy going like, yeah, that's all cool, but we don't know. Me and Connor are like, but what if?
Me and Matt can't win this week because on Batman piece, oh, it's too somber. Come on, pick up the conversation. Here, me and Matt go wild. We go, here is 20 minutes of unfiltered speculation bullshit. And Pete's like, it's too much. Tone it down.
Look, I guess what I'm saying, it's not that it's not like I have a problem with the ideas here. I just think the storytelling to make me care about those ideas could be better.
And that's fine. We're not going to disagree with you. Well, at least I'm not. Connor might, because that's Connor.
We'll disagree in the sense that we feel differently.
Obviously, yes.
But you've got to tell you.
Look, the reason why I'm not getting I'm getting impassioned arguing with you two, but the reason why I'm not impassioned and caring about the sixth dimension and what's going on right now is because none of these plot beats have I mean, they're fine, but they've not hit me with a thud where I'm like, oh, or it's making me fascinated, or like, oh, this means this for the story in this context, or this does this for the characters. It all feels like comic book mumbo jumbo just to have a comic book plot, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just you two off the handle.
What's a handle? I never had one to begin with.
I had fun with this.
Me too.
It was a fun discussion. It was way better than the Batman discussion.
I've just docked on a point. Matt, what's your rating?
So I came into this with and it's probably gained a whole point since we got it. So I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Mine's gone up half a point since the start of this discussion, but also comes out an 8.5.
6.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
We just had 30 minutes of that, Matt.
I know. That's why I said it.
We've literally been talking about Justice League for 35 minutes.
This was supposed to be a quick episode, damn it.
It's okay.
That'll take us on, mercifully, to Aquaman 46. Kelly Sue DeConnick rating with Robson Rocha on the art. And Aquaman has a bit of puncheroo with Nama.
Yep. And
that's pretty much it.
A bit salty.
The caliche.
Salt water.
That is scary.
Calic. I looked it up.
What, Connor?
Calic. I looked it up.
Calic. Yeah. That is scary. Because I had to look it up because I forgot. Because even though we I spent time looking up all these gods and whatnot, I forgot that she's meant to be the hag. So the fact like she's this shape-changing hag woman made of salt.
Yeah. The literal translation is old woman.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Real imaginative there.
Yeah. And she's the salt of the ocean.
The original language.
Right. That's Nama, right? Is the salt of the ocean.
Yes.
So we had to see some cool stuff with salt spears and fighting Arthur.
Yeah. I mean, most of the issue is this fight. It's funny, actually, because this was also a pretty quick read. And between this and Batman, Justice League wasn't actually that wordy this week, but it felt super long after I read these two.
Oh, in comparison to these two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't actually a long read in general. It was just after reading these, because I think I read Batman and Aquaman and then read Justice League after. And after those two, it was
oh my god,
there's words in this. What?
There's probably 4 times as many words in Justice League as there is in this and Batman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Combined.
Combined, yeah, obviously. I mean, there's like 100 times the amount that's in Batman.
So.
But I like that they get there, and this is all part of her plan, and then it cuts back to the gods in their land.
Yeah, we cut back to them. They basically feel guilty that they set Aquaman and Callie out there to fight this battle. So the issue actually ends with them going full god mode and coming to help.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But most
how they each have like nicknames for each other. Like they call Tongaroa Tong. Like it makes it feel more familiar, which I liked.
They spent a lot of time together.
Most of the issue though is the fight scene between Aquaman and Nama, and just when she because he's basically trying to talk to Callie the whole time, like, Callie, fight this, you can't let her take over, and she actually does ultimately resist, But then Nama goes full dragon, basically.
What a page!
It's a great
that
page.
Double page spread of this dragon coming out of the ocean with all the salt spikes everywhere. I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing.
And Aquaman is on her back. They go underwater, and the fight basically, without him sort of realizing it, triggers his aquakinesis, right? And waves of his aquakinesis go out. The ring effect. And it's so strong that whales start reacting in deep sea world, and even Mira in Atlantis is like, he's alive.
Yeah, he's around.
Yeah, he lives. So everyone knows that. Well, not everyone, but Mira at least in Atlantis know.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Aqualand. Should be called Aqualand.
I can't. Aqualand is a water park I've always wanted to go to, but I can never find.
That's what they should have called the embassy.
Aqualand. Do you know what?
Not wrong.
No. So Atlantis has kicked Arthur out. He's going to start his own city called Aqualand, and everyone's welcome.
And it's going to be better. We're going to have free things.
Yeah, that decorum's not allowed. So
like you said, dick arm. And, sorry, I'm 15. Don't forget that.
Yes. So, art's gorgeous, and that's a good thing because it's a lot of it's a fight issue. It's a very quick read, but it's very beautiful. It flows very well. I was into the fight a lot. I was into the decision at the end of the gods. I was into the dragon page and Aquaman jumping on top of her.
Riding the dragon.
All glorious. I feel this is a very quick conversation versus Justice League because it's very quick and straightforward. But
I don't think we're going to fight you on this one.
No. What's funny too is I on Connor's consultation I've been reading Donny Cates' Venom, and the issues I read this week involved a symbiote dragon, and then
which
I get
is also
to this.
Cool as shit, right?
Yeah, and there's a salt dragon, and I'm just like, I'm not even gonna be mad at this. This is a good week.
Dragons are in right now.
Yeah, dragons are dope. We got Game of Thrones coming next month.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's like
Here be
2
dragons.
weeks away or something like that. I think it's like 2 weeks tomorrow.
Huh?
Maybe 3.
I think it's 3 because it doesn't come back the 15th.
Yeah, you're right. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I just don't know what time.
Counting down the days.
Anyways, this was cool. I like how it got us out just of the god world, whatever they are, the lost ocean, and Mira's aware. Arthur's out there somewhere. He's not dead.
So,
I can kind of see at the end of this arc us having all right, different artist in to give him a break, right? Mm-hmm. And what I would do anyways is, all right, let's do an issue in Atlantis. See Mira.
See what's been going on.
Even if a couple of issues, because I'd want it's Rocha, isn't it? I'd want him to come back for the next arc.
Yeah.
And I don't want to swap, but I appreciate. Okay, maybe he needs some time off. A month or two to.
I want to know what Dolphin's been up to.
Yeah. Let's check.
I need to know what she's been up to. I need to know what what's his name? He's got one hand, Merc.
Yeah.
No, he's up to. And like that's the one part that I really liked about Abnet's is the supporting cast. And now this has been 4 issues really, like, not that it hasn't been a supporting cast, but it's been mainly on Arthur and Callie.
If anything, I'd say it's been equally about the mythology that she's setting up as it is about Arthur. Because there was that whole issue. I mean, the last issue when they were on the boat, like,
it's all the gods.
It was all the backstory of the gods mainly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's a bit more focused.
An issue, or even if it's 2 or 3 issues, checking in at Atlantis. Mira, now she's found out, right? Her going and telling the others, all right, this is our plan. We've got to go find him. What are we going to do? That sort of thing. That'd be a nice little change of pace between arcs, and hopefully keep Rocha on schedule.
I want to point out, like, if anyone who's been regularly listening to or watching this show recently, in the recent times, right, and didn't know the things I don't like, this episode I have shat on Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and most recently Game of Thrones. So I've probably lost a few fans.
You're losing fans real quick.
Yes, I'm losing fans quite quickly.
You're as far as I'm concerned, you're 1 for 3 in correctness there. So
I mean, I like all 3 of those a lot. So
nerd.
He can piss off. He's my mortal enemy.
That's fine. To be fair, those are the three biggies. I'm not really keen on Harry Potter either, admittedly, but I mean, after that, I like a lot of things.
Now you struck a nerve.
Surprised that Pete's like, yeah, dragons are cool, because I just assumed he's a dick and hates dragons.
Dragons are great in the right context.
Yeah, Pete's grandpa was the dragon in Dragonheart.
What's Pete's favorite dragon?
I just said it, the dragon in Dragonheart.
Oh no, it was a joke, Matt. He was making a joke.
I'm actually intrigued as to Pete, what's your favorite dragon? Seriously.
I thought you were making a joke with Pete's dragon.
Oh.
What's my favorite dragon? I don't know.
Elliot is pretty cool though.
If I've got a favorite dragon,
Matt's got a favorite dragon.
unless King Ghidorah counts.
Not really.
It's more of an alien, but I guess we'll count it.
It's pushing it.
Eh.
I'm thinking traditional fantasy style dragon.
Traditional fantasy. I like a name any, to be honest.
Bro, just say the Dragon Zord and move on.
That's more of a Godzilla. That's more of a Mecha Godzilla, though. I don't. You're thinking of Red Thunder, the Red Thunder Zord. It was actually a dragon.
Yeah, no, the Dragon Zord was also a dragon. Hence the name. Dragon Zord.
No, it was Godzilla. It was robotic Godzilla. It was called the Dragon Zord. It was Godzilla. It even came out the water like Godzilla.
Yeah, and doesn't mean it wasn't my favorite Zord.
It was my favorite Zord too, but that doesn't make it a dragon.
Zord.
Yeah. The White Tiger then. The White Tiger came and that was cool too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This episode.
Shambles.
Aquaman was very good. Better than Justice League. Matt, what are you rating Aquaman?
I'm going to give it an 8.
So, notably not better than Justice League.
No.
That's fine. I've learned to love Matt through his faults. It's fine. Connor?
You and my wife both.
What are you saying, Connor?
8.
8. I'll also give it an 8. 8's all around. Solid issue Aquaman. I've been enjoying this run.
This is the first thing we've agreed on all night.
Well, we started with the rough patch of King's Batman, and then we went on to a Scott Snyder book, which has traditionally not been something we've agreed on this show. I mean, Matt varies from side to side as to where he falls on Scott Snyder, whereas we typically have our flags planted. Which, hey, if you like me and Connor arguing about Scott Snyder, the monthly episode for patrons that went up earlier this week was Batman Court of Owls. And it was a rollicking episode. You can get that in the $5 tier at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV.
I repeatedly told Pete he was wrong in that one.
I love how you started your sentence in the middle of me saying the Patreon address. You knew that was coming. You knew that was coming.
I know to stay quiet.
It's in the links, descriptions. People can go get it. They know. Patreon. Oh, yeah, it's down there.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to ask you guys offline. Because I need to know what this disagreement was about.
He said
Capullo don't give it away. You have to subscribe to Patreon if they want to know.
Exactly. Don't give it away for free.
So I said I'll ask offline.
You silly ginge.
Just to start a hint of the argument, not even the Snyder, right? He said Capullo wasn't always the best. And
how is that an insult? He's not always the best. The best. What? That's not that hard.
At some points, he's just all right. That is not acceptable.
He's often very good.
Let's be real. Me and Connor, have you met him in person, Connor?
No, I wish.
Okay, well, his arms are massive, and I would never say anything bad about him because he might hear about it.
I said he'd punch Pete and knock him out.
Jesus Christ!
Like he takes pictures with people. Like when I've been in line to meet him, people will ask him to do a choking picture.
Hey, look,
no, because I'm afraid he might snap one day and just go for it.
The only artist, and I'm using quotation marks here for the record, who has actively challenged people to boxing matches, actual critics to boxing matches, is Uwe Boll. And I don't recall you holding back on Blood Rain, Connor, when we reviewed that, so shut your face.
Yeah,
does Uwe Boll look like Capullo? No.
He's right. It's like,
no, but Capullo has more class than Uwe Boll and wouldn't stoop so low to punching...
I'm
mild, and I stress this, mild critiques saying he wasn't always the best.
I'm just gonna say I'm a little bit biased because I saw Capullo jokingly threaten to end Scott Lobdell if he didn't shut up at a panel.
the way Connor describes this, you would think you could edit out me saying Capullo's name and swap in Brett Booth, and it would flow as equally natural. And
I am trying to create some drama. I am trying to make it feel like people go, oh, I need to hear this. I need to hear the raw, unfiltered debate in its original form. I'm going to go and check that out. And you're just ruining the whole plot.
Okay. Well, I don't remember what point I was making before Connor went on that rant.
Yeah, you're moving on to this.
Okay, yes. Next book then. The final new book of the week was Naomi issue 3. Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker writing with Jamal Campbell on the art. And this was very good, Matt. I mean, you've been enjoying this. I've been enjoying this. This is
big time.
I saw that people were going, hey, you might want to go buy an issue before they all sell out because they're going to be on eBay.
Yeah, and my shop didn't get theirs in, so I have to wait now. They were shorted their copies of Naomi. I was very upset.
Some notable things happened in this one. This is where one of the biggest revelations that have happened so far.
So this is the grand unifying of Wonder Comics right now. Is this issue because it starts to pull threads together?
Yeah, well, we get some Gem World talk because it turns out the mechanic that Naomi thinks might be her father, or at least knew her birth mother.
Yeah,
D. Yeah, he's Thanagarian, and he fell in love with his commanding officer, and they ended up in Gem World. But when he came through to Earth, she got left behind, like she couldn't come through as well.
So what I love about this though is the setup of her going to questioning him, and just like she's completely raw emotion of, are you my dad? Who is this girl? My mom? Yes. And he goes, it's impossible. And you're like, wait, why is it impossible?
So what you're saying here, Matt? Is that actually spending time building up to this revelation and having an emotional connection throughout the scene.
Don't fall for it, Matt.
Led to a reveal.
It's not necessarily the emotion. It's the reveal of why it was impossible. Not so much what it meant to Naomi. It was like, oh shit. For me, continuity wonk. Like, holy shit. Bendis just kicked down a wall and opened up this entirely.
This is the beauty of it, Matt, though, is that you're so in tune in the story, you're paying so much attention, you're invested because you care about the answers that Naomi wants, right? Because you feel her frustration in the scene because she's asking for answers and he's kind of avoiding the questions. He's saying these cryptic things, and when he finally tells the story, like you say, it breaks this door open where it's like, hey, he's Thanagarian, and we have had no hint of Thanagarian stuff in this story up until now.
D, the big biker guy.
Did, yeah.
And when you see him, he looks like Conan, right? He's like this, he's like Conan, but with Hawkman, not Hawkman, but Hawk, like
because
the wingman.
I mean, he's always been bulky, but you see him in the flashbacks, and he's got this big beard, and he's got the armor,
beard and hair, and you see him just wrecking stuff across the planets, and you find out that he was on this Thanagarian like SWAT, like SEAL Team 6 kind of team, where they send them to worlds in like secret. And they work on things and then up and leave, without leaving any trace.
While we're talking about him, that panel in the flashback where he's falling to like our Earth, right, through the clouds, is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That page is something else. You see him like multiple times coming through the clouds before he lands at the bottom. Yeah, it is a beautiful panel.
I just want to say, like, I feel like it's his training that led him to he's this big, massive dude with all these tattoos and shaved head, but he still blends in this super small town, right? Like, no one ever questions why he's there or whatnot. And then you get Naomi's mom after she finds all this out, right? You have Naomi's mom opening up the garage door and coming in and, like, smashing things with a baseball bat. Where you're like, okay, I get it, motherly rage. And then she smacks the big dude.
And we don't really know how much she knows about this. Because, I mean, you said she finds out. I mean, all she really knows is that her daughter snuck out at midnight, after midnight, and came here, right? Uh-huh. So she comes bashing in, and like, you came here. And they're arguing, like, she slaps D for a start.
Yep.
We had a deal, an honor code, tell me again about your almighty honor code. So it's like hidden that she knows stuff about him, but we don't know how much. We don't know exactly what this is, because he's confirmed that him and the woman can't be Naomi's mother and parents, right? So we know that's a fact at this point. So at this point with the mystery, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Especially with her beating things up with a baseball bat. And
well, and then when you see the bat later, it's got like a dent in it, like Mom was swinging.
Yeah. She gets in the car and she's demanding answers, and they're not very happy about it. And they said, "Oh, we were hoping we'd have more time before we had to have this conversation." And they drive out somewhere, and the dad's like, "No, it's just me and you. Mom's going to stay in the car. This is between us, and it's more of a show and don't tell." And she's, rightly nervous, and you're kind of with her emotionally throughout the entire issue, because every time she's asking something and they're dodging the question, you get frustrated like she is. It's kind of really perfect narrative bond with your character, your protagonist. And there's some jokes, because she even like almost implies like, where are we going out here at night in the dark? And he's like, hey, I've been raising you for like 17 years. I'm not going to do all that just to murder you in a cave.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing. I think the natural assumption at this point is that you think he's taken her to a ship. And I started thinking, like, is that the genius of this? Is that it's basically the same origin as Superman. Except unlike Superman, we don't know that when we start the book, so it's almost exciting to get the reveal
that must have been Bendis' intent, because I thought the same exact thing.
It's like you think, this is leading up to, here's your ship. We've got it buried out here in the forest or out in this cave, and I'm like, oh, that's really neat. And if that's where it went, I'd be like, that's really cool. But when he gets to the ship at the end, and she sees this ship appear, it's been camouflaged, and it shows up. And she's like, is that the ship I came to Earth in? That's exactly what she's thinking as well. But I've been thinking that for pages. So that's how well in tune that Bendis and Walker are with writing the characters, where we're thinking the same thing she is, and we're doing it for a long time. And then he says, no, that's the ship I came in. And then the final page is him in his Ranian. Yeah, his Ranian outfit. And I'm like...
He looks like a version of Adam Strange.
He does, yeah. It's Adam Strange gear, and I'm like, what? What?
So and this just adds more into it, that we know that Rand and Thanagar are constantly at odds, right? Like, so the fact like her dad is secretly from Rand, we're assuming this. We're assuming he's not like a Zeta beamed from Earth to there, because that's a little bit too much like Adam Strange.
Yeah, no, he's clearly crashed. He's on a ship. There's a spaceship there.
Yeah. So, and then this guy that's been living in her town is secretly from Thanagar, right? And like, so what else cosmic is going to go on here?
And I think we're also right to assume that her adoptive father here is still adopted father. I don't think it's actually, he's not. So, who her birth parents are is still up in the air. It's still open. Yeah. I don't know, but at least right now I'm like, well, this was a swerve. Her adopted father is from Rand. Okay.
So it involves the multiverse, right? Because D brings up the stuff about the multiverse. It involves Gem World, right? Him being from Thanagar kind of involves it in the Thanagar Prime kind of deal. And so it just makes me look at like Snyder and Bendis and Walker kind of working on building this tapestry going forward here, of what it means in DC,
And I think that's just why I was especially more hard on Justice League and why we get into that debate, because I think this book it has these big crazy reveals of like things that aren't answered yet. So there's a big cliffhanger. Every single reveal in this book, I was hanging in every single word of what was going on here. I was invested in what was happening, and every single time it did reveal something, I was going, oh shit. I was reacting. I wasn't quite gasping. I'm not that much of an emotive reader, but like I was feeling these things. I was feeling things as it was happening. I care because the character's so invested in it, and it was everything was hitting me hard throughout the issue. Yeah. I'm so into this book. This is one of the best books DC's putting out right now. I agree. I will fight for that. So no, I love this issue. This was
Once they got to he name dropped Gem World, and we have to assume that Naomi doesn't know what Gem World is.
Yeah.
So this all sounds like the ramblings of a crazy person to her, but to us, it's like, oh man, suddenly Gem World means something after it not being around forever.
I mean,
But Bendis coming through.
I mean,
You know?
she could be from Gemworld. She
Mhm.
could be from Ran or Thanagar, right? And for some reason, when she came here, or she is from Earth, but for some reason
Right.
there's a vested interest where this deal that was made between Dee and presumably her parents.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly in on it. He clearly knows who she is and where she came
Yep.
from.
Yep. Well, that's why he says stop asking questions. That's what that whole was about last time. You know, because he knows he's, if she comes asking, he's going to be straight with her. You know. But yeah, and I'm starting to wonder if there's even more. Like the next issue is going to have some more, because now we're half through. The first 6, right? It's 6 issues.
Yeah, this first arc is 6, and then there's a break, and then it'll be
Yeah.
you know
So
Naomi
we're
2.
half through. Yeah, and we see that we've seen that by the end of one issue, she's gonna have that gear on that we've seen teases of. So
Yeah, I think it's in the covers both 5 and 6. So I imagine maybe
Yeah.
the final page of 5 will be her outfit. But so
so we're moving at a clip, but yeah, and the
Sure.
art in this one is just what it does with the shadows.
Yeah.
And like when Mom busts in and it gets super bright and whatnot, like it not that I jumped, but it made for a shock, like a legit like, oh shit, Mom's here.
And there's a legit atmosphere. Obviously, I mentioned that stuff in the flashbacks with the clouds and him falling to Earth, all that stuff. But even out in the forest, going to the cave, and it's dark, and it's the cell phone light that's lighting their way. That stuff is like really atmospheric to the point where it adds to her suspicion, the creepy vibe. Even though her dad's actually being, there's nothing. He's not saying anything creepy or doing anything creepy, but there's still this uneasiness to it, and it's in the art, and it goes with how she's feeling in the moment. It's everything about this book so far has been pinpoint in terms of its craft, I suppose.
Yeah, I dare say that this is the best book monthly that DC's putting out. Like,
So it's in the top 5
easy.
for sure.
So
Maybe top 3. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. But it has become one of the most excited books I have every month. So no, this was great. Because it's like I didn't know this was going to like Thanagar and Ran is like a subject
Me neither.
matters. Like I mean,
I was really in the camp that it involved the Legion of Superheroes, and I'm not even disappointed that we haven't gotten any hints there yet.
hell, it still could.
like,
Next issue could be
yeah.
the Legion of Superheroes dropped you off from the future, and we agreed to look after you. That could be what we talk about next issue.
Yeah. Well, the way that Bendis brings in the word multiverse here, and then she even stutters it, like she's never heard of the multiverse and whatnot. I'm feeling that's a key.
She's from a different Earth, at least, or different...
Yeah.
She's not from our dimension, I guess. Is
Yeah, not from our Earth, and I just feel, but that could just be a swerve waiting to happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. Like when we got the reveal that he's Thanagarian, and then you see him with the wingsuit on, and he's just this big bulky dude, and you're like, man, I want a mini about that story, like them going on these secret missions together and how they fell in love and where she went, But yeah.
Yeah. No. Naomi's great. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 10. I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
I don't think I can quite give it a 10. I'm going to give it a 9.5, but I loved it. It's the best issue of the run so far. It's been great so far. No, Naomi's fantastic. Read it, people. Seriously. Okay, that's it for the new issues, but we do have some punishment issues to go for. So, Connor's going to take the solo reins here first. So the reason why this is happening, by the way, is on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month. But one of the higher tiers is that you can make me or Connor read a comic book, or both in one case. So Connor's going to be reading Red Hood Outlaw issue 30, which is Scott Lobdell writing. I never asked him before what the artist was. Is it still Pete Woods? There you go, it's Pete Woods. So take it away.
Yeah, and if you want the short version of why we're doing this, it's because people are dicks.
You opened yourself up to it, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're consenting in this.
Yeah, Pete's gonna laugh here because a new issue that I consider a punishment issue that I have to do is on on our other podcast elsewhere in the multiverse.
Yes.
And also a Lobdell book. You can go to that. One of my biggest complaints in that, because we did that just on the last episode, was so many establishing captions, right? This has 2 in the first 2 panels. And I just groaned. I went, ugh, why? Because it starts with the stupid America caption that this has been doing. And then it has him jumping a fence, and it's a caption that says Mexico. I'm like, I can see the sign, that's telling me, entering this area is illegal. I didn't need the caption telling me that it was Mexico. Context. Pissed me off. And just his dialogue. So he goes to Mexico. He meets this old woman. It's like a gas station. First place he finds. He's asking for directions to this place. This abandoned prison. And she's just like, oh no, don't go there. No one goes there. No one with a soul. And he just goes, well, then I should be fine. And walks. I'm like,
So you can relate to the character then.
Yeah, thank you. I was just gonna get that.
You can't even argue.
I can't. No. I got no words. And then we spend about 3 pages while he's driving, just doing a recap of the last 4 or 5 issues. All that stuff in the small towns, the pie lady, the Mondays, all that. And then he gets to the prison, and he's like, yeah, shit happened here. It's not great. Blood everywhere. The splat indicates a sword. And he keeps walking through, and he's like, nope, this wasn't a sword. It was an axe. And I groaned. I went, oh, for God's sake.
Here comes Artemis.
Well, yeah. Well, it's kind of. It's semi-flashback. It's like, oh, Artemis was here. And we do almost a detective vision style. Do you know what? Was actually a really good way of liking it is, in Hannibal, the TV show.
Yes.
I do not.
When Will does this thing where, he sits there and he imagines the crime scene, but he's there, as well. Jason basically does that, and watches, Artemis tearing this place up, but it's like, okay, what's going on here? And there's absolutely no reason for him to do this. It's completely pointless. And it's like, no way, this is a coincidence. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, that Artemis and Bizarro are, still alive somewhere. Cut to another reality entirely, where there's a good old Artemis and then Bizarro, isn't there? Bizarro's still wearing his tank top. Artemis has got a bit of a redesign, a bit of a haircut. She's shaved one side of her head, so she's got the the go over with the comb. Yeah.
Like in what's her name in Hunger Games? It's the first
Natalie
time I ever saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Natalie Dormer. There you go.
Yeah, it's that haircut. And there's just one page of them doing this, going, oh yeah, if we're gonna keep fighting, we'll keep going. And fine, we're getting back to them, which makes me get why would we bother renaming the book? Pointless. And then, back in this reality, Jason's finally confronted by Wingman, which was the not Batman.
Right.
And then next page, and another character, because it ends with Wingman kicking Jason in the face. Satisfying. Not gonna lie. Knocks him out, and it says, a few minutes later, and he's come around, he's tied up in a chair, the old usual. And it's basically Wingman's going, yeah, no, I'm not here to give you shit. We want you back in Gotham. Not everyone agrees with Batman's methods. Come on, who gives a hand? Contain the lunatics in asylum. It points out here, it brings awareness that Wingman was, Jason was Wingman at some point in the past in Batman Incorporated. And then the wall attacks Wingman. I mean that literally. The bricks fly off the wall and attack Wingman.
I thought you meant the man the warlord came in swinging an axe or something like that.
And then the bricks start and get Jason, but they go through Jason, but destroy the chair that he sat on. And it's like, right, okay, what's going on there? So he starts wandering around the prison. He gets back to exploring, and finds a Lobdell. You know, he has a bit of a tussle on tension tussle. He's got a sword out, by the way. Then this dog that comes up and starts growling. Yeah.
Connor's mic starting to shorten out again. That sentence was just dwindling as it went on.
Which is bunker. It's in.
Can you even hear us that we said that there? I don't know.
About a new 52.
He's just still talking. He's not even listening to his.
He's just going.
His audio's when.
What's that?
Your mic was dwindling, and we started talking about. You just kept going as if you couldn't hear us.
I couldn't.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I had no sound, and I realized I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, rewind a few sentences.
Where did I get up to?
Matt, were you paying attention?
Did I do the dog?
I was reading theories about Endgame.
How dare you on the DC podcast, Matt? How dare you?
You tell me what bigger DC movie's coming out this year than Endgame.
Shazam.
Bigger? I mean...
Shut your mouth.
No one's arguing. Bigger here, come on. I think Shazam's aiming for a 50 million opening.
Alright, not bigger, but better.
We'll see.
Again, the chase. So the last thing we heard was... I'm not even gonna lie. I was paying attention.
Does the dog ring any bells?
No.
Not really.
No. Okay. Well, he runs into a dog. He's got his katana out, and he's about to, the dog looks like it's going to attack him. And then he's like, no, dogs, gotta love them. And sticks his hand out, and now he's got a pet dog. But then, he keeps walking through the prison, and he runs into Bunker, who was on the Teen Titans at the start of the new
Scott Lobdell.
Yeah, presumably I love that.
That's what you said, New 52. I remember hearing that pop in.
Yeah, the rest of the sentence wasn't there, though. It was like,
No.
something. No.
Right, okay. So yeah, he goes to pull the emergency release to let Bunker out because he's in this big test tube style thing. And then his quote unquote father maybe thing that was in the last arc shows up. He's like, yeah, that's not a good idea. The end of the issue. Bunker's looking unconscious in this tube. He's in one of those sites. He's in the liquid. He's all hooked up to wires. Like, what's going on? But he had the power to control the bricks. In the scene before, but.
I mean, I appreciate Lobdell trying to bring back a character like that. I did like Bunker. That was probably the highlight of that Teen Titans run.
He was fine. I wouldn't say I dislike him.
Well, he was a nice new character that meshed well with this, not my Teen Titans version of the team.
Yeah. It was far from the worst thing about that book. I'll definitely give you that.
I mean, you had an insect girl with an unpronounceable name because I can't remember what it was.
You did, didn't you?
That was pretty bad.
No, my problem is I thought all the bricks that he conjured were purple.
They were.
And that was Lobdell's thing. Yeah, this here, it's you can see it very clearly. The bricks are being ripped from the wall and thrown around the room and being made so that they can go through Jason but hit the chair.
Right.
And
well, they're psionic. I remember that much.
Yeah, they weren't real bricks, were they?
Conjuring them from the real, from his mind, basically. Yeah. But they were solid. Like, he would make barriers out of them.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. They were like Green Lantern-esque, right? Essentially, like constructs.
Yeah.
From what I remember, anyway. But so this is why I was confused here when I'm like, but those are actual bricks just off a wall. Has Lobdell forgotten the rules of his own creation?
Or maybe because it's New 52, he's changing it because it's no longer that.
Could be. Yeah. Well, I suppose I'll find out.
Yes, you will. Thank you, David.
Dick.
What are you rating it? This sounds went again. Oh no, he's not. He's just thinking.
I was just really thinking about it.
All right. Well, I guess that'll take us on to the other Patreon pick issue, which is something that both me and Connor have been forced to read.
Yeah, screw you too, Tyler.
That is Nightwing issue 53. Scott Lobdell writing. With
Connor got a double dose.
I know.
And I read I read Lobdell like 3 days ago for the last show. Oh, a bit longer than that now, but
Yeah, but Generation X, man, that's different.
Yes.
You say that like it's good.
Yeah. Actually, Scott Lobdell did the plot. Fabian Nicieza did the script, and then Travis Moore and Patrick Zilcher did the art.
Up until you get to the art, it's 90s as hell.
I mean, Travis Moore's fairly nice.
All right, I thought I was going to react to that,
Yes.
so
I did too.
yes. So I left it hanging for him.
Search is definitely not.
No.
Anyway, so the last issue ended with this Nightwing cop jumping down. Well, Rick is looking for this cab driver who's went missing in this bad part of town, and there's a lot of really bullshit narration here with Rick kind of did I look as good in that outfit kind of thing. There's bullshit like that.
It is bullshit.
Yeah, can't go away.
It's like, did I look this cool when I was wearing that?
Yeah, there's a dumb line coming up later, which I'll get to. So, well, there's one that stuck out to me that I wanted to mention. That doesn't mean it's the only dumb line in the book. So, Rick gets handcuffed to the cab by this Nightwing cop. Of course, Rick immediately pulls his hand out of it and goes, "Oh, I guess this Dick Grayson was something of an escape artist."
Yeah, not sure that's how muscle memory works, but okay.
Yes. New Nightwing cop is shit at what he's doing. He falls through the skylight when he's trying to survey what's going on. We have this gang who's kidnapped the cab driver, and Nightwing starts to fight them. And then Rick comes in and tries to free the cab driver. Nightwing cop grabs one of their submachine guns and starts firing it about the place. And
just before we go too much further,
yes,
do we get a reason why they kidnapped the cabbie?
yeah, they had to talk about it. They say that they sell off parts of the cab as well as parts of him on the black market.
Okay, I mean,
God,
sure, but as he points out, is there a big market for 76-year-old kidneys? It seems really poorly thought out.
Are you surprised?
I mean, a little. I think typically these gang members, I'm not saying they're necessarily smart. I'm saying they can see where the most money is, and that is in healthy young organs, you would assume.
This is the next scene actually when they go to the hospital and Rick's there visiting the cab driver. And he says, "Are you sure that Nightwing guy was the real deal?" To the cab driver, the old dude. He's like, "I heard Nightwing was young and much hotter." And I'm just like, it's not so much that I don't think Dick Grayson would crack a joke about being attractive, because he would. It's just, this is like the most inane way to say that sentence. There's no creativity, there's no, like if you were making this joke yourself, you'd say something like, I don't know, I heard this Nightwing was much more dashing or something. You would crack that sort of joke to it, but he just says hotter. It's like it's like a 12-year-old. I don't know.
And then also, heard Nightwing was young, not younger.
Young. Yeah, so
that sounded weird.
Sort of very stilted about the whole thing. And Rick ends up going on a date with this barmaid that he's been chatting up. They've been kind of bonding because it's like, oh, everyone else I know has this look in their eyes where they want me to be Dick Grayson again. So he ends up flirting with her, and she buys him a burrito because he's poor. And then he's all like, "Oh, thanks for the burrito." And there's like a moment.
Yeah, there's a bit when he rushes into the where the gang members are. They're like, "Get out of here, you bum!" And he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe I do need a change of clothes."
Yeah, maybe. Meanwhile, Nightwing Cop's actually been injured, so he runs to his buddy who refused to join him because we know we're getting a team of Nightwings based on the covers and stuff in the future.
Yeah.
So presumably he will end up being this dude. The ultimate thing though is there's a guy who goes to the bar named Tiny who's an alcoholic, and even though he was there drinking, he's still going to the AA meetings. And the final scene of the book is that he goes to this AA meeting, and it turns out the doctor there, who's using a fake name, is Scarecrow, and releases the fear toxin gas at the end, and that's the issue.
This seems like really small potatoes for Crane. I'm gonna go after the AA meeting.
I assume he's got a bigger plan that's going to spiral out of this.
I mean,
I'm sure he's got more. I'm sure he's got more going on.
It seems like a really low-key starting point for him.
Oh dear. I mean, it didn't take too long to read. Like I'll give it that. Like I don't want to say it flowed because I don't want to say that either. But some of these bad books you read and it's like, oh, this feels like it's twice as long as an issue.
It flowed in the sense that the scenes all made sense. Structurally, it flowed.
Sure,
but the dialogue was stilted and all over the place, which meant that it didn't flow in terms of reading it.
Yes, and then on top of that, as thunder happens at Matt's house or something like that, I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, it sounds like the garbage is coming. They don't send the recycling and the garbage at the same time,
So, yeah, and obviously, I mean, everything with Rick is just obviously it's been frustrating since issue 50. We've complained about it ad nauseum. I feel like the only new thing to add here is that we have Rick like consistently basically belittling what his past was and actually going, oh hey, this cop's become Nightwing. I guess I don't have to worry about that now. I don't have to feel guilty that there's no Nightwing anymore. That's basically his attitude.
Pretty much. Not that we had any signs that he was feeling guilty about it anyway.
Nah, I mean, maybe guilt's the wrong word. Maybe it's just that, oh, he doesn't have to be pestered by other people to be Nightwing now, because there's a Nightwing. You know, that's him. He's off scot-free, essentially. No puns for Mr. Miracle intended. So, it's just... it's a frustrating read. It's unpleasant to read. It's an unpleasant version of the character, as it has been the whole time. This issue is no better or worse than the last one. It's just the same kind of bleh.
Mundane bullshit.
It could be worse, but it also could be a lot better. Which I guess lands us to the ratings where it's probably like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's 3.5 if you're being generous, but probably a 3.
Yes, do you feel it being generous, I guess?
Not really, no.
Yes. I didn't really mention the art much. It's fine.
I mean, it's fine. There was one bit where Nightwing Cop kicked the gang members, and his leg was at a really weird, unnatural angle that stuck out to me. But I mean, it's fine for the most part. Sure, I was just preparing for the end of the show there.
Yeah,
and realised that there's no variant covers in the book.
Huh.
What book?
I forgot. Yeah, at the start. Usually they're at the front.
Are they not? I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Let me just have a quick...
You just reminded me I have to look at my cover of the week. I mean, I only have 4 to choose from, so...
I guess I best get Diamond up, but we have to...
That's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm going to have to look at previews and go... Because I suspect that there's probably a decent variant or 2.
There often is.
Yeah. I mean, even out of 3 books, I would suspect that at least one of them will be good.
Well, I mean, that does naturally take us on then to the best stuff of the week. What we do here is we pick our favourite panel/moment, our best art, best cover, and top 5 books of the week. Although this week it will be top 5. It'll just be ranking all the books we read because there wasn't enough, to put it simple. So... Oh, hello.
Yeah, I think I know what you just looked at, because cover's an easy choice.
Cover may very well be an easy choice. Naomi doesn't even have a variant, so...
No.
Minis don't get them. Only for the first issue, Minis get them. And Naomi does technically count as a mini, even though they never solicit that. I think they always...
Well, and it was Lupacino, so
yeah,
that was the variant of the first one.
So, all right, panel / moment then, Matt.
So I'm gonna go from Naomi, and it's gonna be the Thanagar reveal, where you see the full in his wing costume and whatnot. Such a cool moment.
As opposed to the Ran reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Yes. Connor.
Well, I've got two, so I don't know if you want to go first, and then I can talk about the other one in case it's one of them.
Yeah, I left the easy one to you guys. I don't want to take it.
Well, no, actually, I'm going from Naomi as well. I know what people think the obvious one is. I know exactly what the obvious one is, but I'm going with where Thanagarian falling through the sky when he arrived on Earth. I think that page is beautiful.
So, which one would you say is the obvious? Because I think both of my options are the obvious ones.
Oh, it's Jarrow, Robin. I mean, come on.
Okay, so that was obviously one of them. The other one, that dragon.
Yeah.
From Aquaman, okay.
Yeah, like, goddamn.
Can't fault it. Best cover of the week then, Matt.
So I'm gonna go with it's probably a little cheating, but the Justice League triptych of the sixth dimension.
That is cheating. Yes.
That's fair. Yes.
Well, if it's not, then the center one with the two Superman with Mixapidlick doing a happy, put his click his heels together jump.
Because technically you picked 3 covers.
Yeah. And that's what I just said. More specifically, the middle one.
Yeah.
Connor.
It's the Batman variant.
Yeah, it's the Batman variant for me. Yeah.
I hadn't seen it before now because obviously, like I said, it wasn't at the front of my issue, and I'm used to just seeing them when I read them.
Yeah, Dave Johnson's variant for Batman is the stunning black and white image of Batman standing on top of a building, looking down at the sky.
It is gorgeous.
That's good. It's wallpaper worthy. That's how good that is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So, best art of the week then, Matt.
I'm gonna go Naomi.
As am I. Naomi gets it from me too. Connor.
I guess Lee Weeks. Batman.
It's a good second choice.
Batman got a point from Connor, not from us. That makes me laugh. So top 5 or
Naomi.
Top.
Tell you what.
Top 4 or 3 in Connor's case books of the week. Go on, Matt.
1 Naomi, 2 Justice League, 3 Aquaman, 4 Batman.
Connor.
Yeah, it's Justice League then Aquaman.
And then Batman, yes. My number 1 is Naomi for sure. Number 2 is Aquaman. Number 3 is Batman. Number 4 is Justice League.
Nothing.
Oh, it's almost getting too fun. All right, so that is that. Although we did ask on Twitter for folks, for you, the people.
They better be saying Justice League.
They are.
Let's still get half. I don't know if I can do it with half a can, but you, the people. Is that Danish? I said I can't Danish that now.
Terrible. That's what it was.
I watched Dark Knight Rises recently. I had an okay Ben impression sometimes.
Review coming very soon.
Oh, it's already up on Patreon for patrons. Yeah.
There you go. Review there.
Yes, for Dark Knight Rises. You think darkness is your ally. Anyway, so we asked on the Twitters about people's favorite DC books, and I mean, one person did say Justice League.
Who? Name them so I can applaud their right choice.
At Matt Barry sucks.
Good man.
He himself is Matt Barry for the record. He's not insulting someone else.
Yes. Well, there's a sports writer that does a lot of fantasy talk named Matthew Barry. So either way, it works.
Sure.
A lot of people don't like him. So.
Everyone else though who responded to this tweet said Naomi.
But what did Talking Superman also say?
Well, actually, Talking Superman said, Naomi is the most solid book out right now, but Electric Warriors had an amazing twist that was the highlight of the week, and I know you guys won't talk about it. That was the exact quote.
So I did a little homework there.
You've ensured Matt's going to talk about it now.
Yes, Matt's going to talk about it. Matt looked it up to see what the twist was.
Yeah, I did.
So just in case, if you weren't expecting spoilers for Electric Warriors, but now that it's going to happen, spoilers are about to happen for Electric Warriors.
Yeah, so I guess this is a story about it's in the far-flung future, and planets send gladiators to fight each other. And
Who sent
you know,
Superman?
well, no, it wasn't. It's not just Superman. So Firestorm ends up showing up, and you come to find out that when the gladiators die, it's a bit Hunger Gamesy. Like they do this so there's no more war, but they're gonna give like a proper death. But it turns out that no, that Firestorm has kind of sold out all these gladiators out, and that the bodies get turned into food for the worlds, and so it's not this noble death that they were promised. And the heroes of the book end up being able to split Firestorm, right, and get him out of the Matrix. And you want to guess who makes up Firestorm? So it's not who you think.
Well, one of them's Superman, because you said it's not just Superman.
Yeah, it's Superman and Lex Luthor, and it's not just regular Superman. It's Sun God Superman from DC 1,000,000, and he's all withered. He looks like he's seen better days, and Lex looks like Lex, right?
I'm so glad I read this book.
Yeah. So what has happened that has caused Lex to overpower Sun God Superman, who, according to Grant Morrison, is basically, the most powerful being in existence, that enables him to let Lex become Firestorm in this weird future. So there we go. Talked about it on the show.
All right, well, just to hear some other people who said Naomi. At Booster Green, Naomi, I'm excited for every page turn because anything can happen. And actually, that's a really interesting point, is that because it is this original character and we don't know anything about her, the story can literally go anywhere, and I really felt that this issue. It was like, oh, Thanagar, oh, Ran, oh, shit. Like, all of a sudden. And then
Gem World. The Multiverse.
At Philosoph Pop, Naomi 3, from mundane to the cosmic in one issue. Plus, I felt the same tension she felt when her parents wouldn't explain things directly. That's kind of going back to what I was saying about always kind of being in her shoes every time, she would ask a question and no one would answer, or, you're kind of with her the entire time. But yeah, so thank you very much for that, guys. So always look out at DC Comics Podcast on Twitter for the question that comes every week.
Mm-hmm.
And normally this week will be where we ask for questions. We didn't do that this month because we had to be done earlier. Although it ended up being a kind of a meatier episode than I thought it was going to be anyway.
Yeah, we're brushing up to my exit time. So.
Yes. So that is the show, though. That's been episode 147. So yeah, get us on the Twitters at DC Comics Podcast. Support us over at Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can get some bonus stuff at the $5 tier. You get the monthly episode with me and Connor talking about a trade or a collection. We just did Batman Court of Owls, which was episode 19, I think, of that. So there's 19 of them there now you can get access to. Yeah. Check out Elsewhere in the Multiverse, which is me and Connor talking about comics from other publishers, and check out Television for the Multiverse, which is me and Connor talking about DC TV shows. So that's your multiverse family of
basically
podcasts.
Hell yeah, Doom Patrol.
Yes, hell yeah, Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is very good, guys. It's very good.
Yeah. But, before anything else, what's next week, Pete?
That's a good point. What is next week? Guess I haven't done that yet. So coming up next week, and this is important because there's actually 2 episodes coming next week. So, Thursday night, early Friday, you'll be getting a special episode all about Detective Comics 1000, like we did for Action last year, so look out for that. And then the regular episode... I need
to figure out how many covers I'm going to buy.
That's true. The regular episodes... What the hell was that noise? The regular episode, which is coming...
It's the garbage. They're still here.
Okay, but that was louder.
They're taking their sweet time.
That was a louder noise. So the regular episode, though, will feature Heroes in Crisis issue 7, Action Comics 1009, Wonder Woman 67, The Flash 67, Batgirl 33, The Terrifics 14, The Silencer 15, Shazam number 4, DILH for Hero number 1, Freedom Fighters issue 4, and Martian Manhunter issue 4. And if I feel like it after that big list of comics, I might fit in Batman Damned issue 3, but I ain't making promises.
Yeah.
So... There you go. Also,
I think Batman Damned's been pushed anyway.
Oh, has it? Oh, never mind then. Also, next week that we will not be covering is Justice League Odyssey issue 7 and Batman Beyond issue 30. So, big week next week. This is next week is the polar opposite of this week.
Yep.
Yeah. And for anyone interested, Mira Tidebreaker, which is the first of the DC Inc. books, is out next week.
and the Super Sons, the Polish Shell Project, which is Zoom's first one.
Oh, yes, you're right. I didn't see that one.
Yeah. So
there you go. So yeah, bustling week next week.
But Matt will not be on that main episode.
No.
Nope.
He's actually skipping the next 2 main episodes because mainly
he's an awful person.
Well, it's mainly his wife's fault. Let's be honest. The second one.
Well,
the
no,
second
the first
week
one's not. The first one is I'm going to WonderCon.
Yeah, but it's her fault that it's 2 weeks in a row.
Yes, and then the following week is Disneyland,
which Matt didn't fight that much. Let's be honest.
No, not really. I'm gonna get to meet Captain Marvel. I'm gonna get to see Star Wars Land. You know, not gonna get to go in. It's not open yet, but
yeah,
I'm gonna look at it. Like,
he's gonna look at it longingly. Yeah,
yes, I am.
So yeah, that's the show. That's episode 147. I say you can go to Patreon. You can also support us by liking, subscribing, and commenting, all that kind of thing, sharing us out. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, guys, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force. Star Wars still sucks.
Cynical is Doom, and Pete's Doom as well.